I am a 36-year-old businessman. My wife Abby is a part-time housewife. We've been married for 4 years, but we haven't had much success having children. We seem to have hit a rough patch. Lately, Abby's been leaving the house a lot, saying she's going on a trip with her friends. At first, it seemed like a great idea for her to get out and relax with her friends. Or so I thought. During that time, I could do whatever I wanted without worrying about her getting upset. I thought it was best for us to spend some time apart. But she started going on more and more trips. It was when she started going on a trip every month, when I remembered, starting to feel a little bit suspicious. She said it was just a carefree trip with one of her girlfriends, but every time, before going on a trip, she'd go out and buy new clothes, and her makeup was on another level than when she would be going out with me. It was around that time when she started to avoid me having intimate moments. I started to think she was cheating. I looked up a lot of things on the internet. I tried looking at her phone. There wasn't even a lock on it, but there wasn't even a single strange call or message. Come to think of it, she always leaves her phone there. Incidentally, I looked at some of the messages between her and her friends. It's then that I realized something strange. She didn't talk about her trips with any of her friends. I got even more suspicious. I secretly asked a detective agency to investigate her. She would always tell the date of her trip beforehand. So I asked them to investigate her while on her trip. Of course, my intuition was right. She told me she was going to a hot spring a little further away. Well, she really did go on the trip. Where she was going also wasn't a lie. But who she went with? Of course it was a man. I got a call from the detective agent telling me. I knew I was right, but it was still shocking. Everything turned dark in front of me. I sat down on the living room sofa and spaced off. It seemed like one thing after another. I heard Abby's excited voice over the phone while on her trip. It isn't always like that, but for some reason on that day, maybe Abby felt something was off. Or maybe it was just a coincidence, but I couldn't help but pick up the phone when she called.
We got to the hotel just a little bit ago. First thing I did was go straight into the hot spring. It's large and amazing. I heard it was great for giving you beautiful skin, but it really did make my skin super smooth and soft. It was so nice.
Abby was chatting away happily and more cheerful than normal. I just kept saying, "Oh, really? That's great," as she spoke.
Right now, Nakai is getting ready to cook for us, like extremely fresh fish from the area. There's even a huge crab.
Oh, really? That's awesome. You do love crabs.
Yes, I do. I'm so excited because they're gonna be so delicious. Yeah, I'll take a picture of the food and send them to you, okay?
Don't waste your time sending them to me. Just have fun. Don't worry about me. To the Abby who was cheating on me with her secret lover, I couldn't help but feel indifferent. Thank you, but what's with that reply? Don't you have something better to say than that? She said, even though I knew about them cheating on me, I still couldn't help but feel indifferent. Even though I knew about them cheating, I thought I could be nice about it. But if they found out I knew this way, I wouldn't be able to hold it against her. So I recomposed myself and made an excuse. I'm sorry. I think I just might be tired from work. I know doing all the housework is very difficult, so relax and take your time coming home, I said to her. That seemed to cheer her up.
Yeah, thank you. I'll buy you lots of souvenirs. You better look forward to it, she said cheerfully as she hung up the phone.
While I was doing that, the detective agency had finally arrived at the hot spring Abby had went to. There were pictures of them lovingly holding hands and walking through the streets. There were even pictures of them kissing in the streets that they took and sent to me. They even recorded their conversation. Her lover's name was Steve. I found out he worked at the same company as Abby. I also found out he was single and younger than Abby. I had the detective agency write up a report and I started preparing for divorce. When I learned the truth, it was shocking at first, but I was also quicker at recovering than I expected. Now, I no longer have feelings for Abby whatsoever. She could get remarried to Steve or do whatever she wanted for all I cared. I prepared the divorce paper, wrote my name, and signed them. For witnesses, I asked my two brothers to do it. All I need was Abby's signature, and the divorce would be final. It doesn't matter how much she refuses or says she doesn't want to break up. I have proof, pictures, and even voice recordings. She couldn't talk her way out of it, even if she tried. So then, Abby came home 2 days later. She must have had a lot of fun with her lover boy. After that, maybe because of the guilt, when she came back from her trip, she talked even more than usual about how amazing the hot spring was, about the scenery, about the souvenirs. She just kept talking until I told her I had enough. I was so sick and tired of it all, so I just kept saying, yeah. This, of course, pissed Abby off.
What happened? Why do you always have to act like that when I try to talk to you? You don't like I went on the trip? Every year you go on a company trip, don't you? You get to go out, don't you?
This was an angry side of her I'd never seen before. I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention. It's just that you always talk about the same things. I'm just a little tired of it. I said too much, but I had bottled it all up.
I'm sorry for always talking about the same things. I can't continue to be with you. Actually, why don't we just break up?
My ears hurt as she screamed at me. I couldn't believe she brought up divorce first. I was so thankful. It made me laugh hysterically on the inside. Of course, I didn't let that show on my face. Why did it turn into this conversation all of a sudden? If we broke up, where do you think you will live? I asked rather aggressively.
Huh? Of course I'll be living right here. You're the one who caused this mess. It's your fault. You get out.
Abby kept coming after me. I thought for a bit and I decided to give up for now. I'm sorry, I can't just leave here. I will also have nowhere to live. Why don't we talk about this after we've calmed down? After we've calmed down, I said humbly. I'm sure Abby thought she had won. This calmed her down a little bit.
After this, I want you to listen to me carefully, she said while leaving the living room.
I hated being controlled by my emotions like this. I decided to protect myself. I asked the detective agency to investigate a little more. In particular, I decided to get a background check on Abby and Steve. After that one fight, even at work, those two seemed to be flirting without a care in the world. Before, in the company, not many people knew about their relationship, but because of their bold behavior in front of everyone, they became the talk of the company, almost immediately. Now, there isn't a person that doesn't know about their relationship. On the other hand, from that point on, Abby and I continued to grow apart. Nights that Abby wouldn't come home increased. Surely, she's enjoying her time with Steve, but I, of course, soon stopped caring at all. I couldn't help but look forward to Abby's reaction when I confronted her with the evidence and the freedom of finally being divorced. Finally, the day came. I had come home first and was watching TV. Suddenly, when Abby came home, she came to me saying, "Let's break up."
What? What are you saying all of a sudden?
I pretended to be surprised, and Abby said, "You don't even treat me like your wife anymore, do you? Even if we stayed together, it won't be good for either of us. It's that attitude of yours. That's why I can't stand you. Make sure to give me lots of alimony," she said. I did my best to look as sad as possible. "It hurts for you to say stuff like that. I will be transferring to an overseas branch soon. I wanted you to come with me." I announced the secret I had been keeping until now. When I did, Abby seemed to be interested.
Overseas? Where? She asked me.
"A branch office in Singapore," I answered her. She snickered at me as if I was stupid.
Only because they can't use you here at the main office. You're being demoted to a branch office. If it was a branch office in America or England, it would be different. Singapore is just a demotion. Abby's expression had turned extremely ugly.
"Well, I'm a chief right now, but I'll be promoted to a branch manager after going to Singapore, with a higher salary too. But this isn't something I was planning to tell you. Because your sense of priorities are messed up. It can't be helped. You're being demoted. I can't go together with you. Go by yourself. Oh, before that, please divorce me. So I'll leave the paperwork up to you," and then she returned to her room. After that, I started to get ready for the big move. I had already gathered plenty of evidence. Even if we get divorced, I should have the upper hand. I took the next day off. and began gathering the things I bought, like household items, clothes, etc., and sending them to Merritt's house for the time being. Collected all of my bank books and papers and moved to my parents' house. That night, just as expected, I got a phone call from Abby.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? The house is completely empty. What the heck happened? She screamed knowingly over the phone.
Well, you want to divorce me, right? That house's lease is in my name. And since we were getting divorced, I don't need it anymore. So I terminated the lease. I moved out everything I bought. I did exactly what you wanted. Are you happy now? I told her. Abby was silent for a moment.
But my clothes are even gone. Where did you hide them? No way. You did go off and sell them, did you?
She asked me so. I answered her straightforwardly. No, I sent your clothes to that place. I saved you some time. I'm nice, aren't I? I couldn't stop smiling while telling her. I'm glad it was over the phone. Abby didn't seem to understand what I meant.
What? You sent them to my parents' house? If you did, my parents are going to be super surprised. I have to give them a call and let them know. She said without thinking.
No, I didn't send them to your parents' house. I said to her.
Where did you send them then?
She angrily asked me. There. Who was it that you said again? Steve, was it? I sent to over there. I told her. Abby stopped screaming immediately. I could tell over the phone that she was panicking.
Steve? Who is Steve? I don't know anyone named Steve.
She seemed stunned, but it was too late. In a low voice, I told her, You know, are you trying to make me out for a fool? You think I don't know what's going on? You were cheating on me with that Steve guy. I had it thoroughly investigated. Well, I'll break up with you. Have a great life with Steve. On the other side of the phone, Abby was saying, What? Huh? Sort of things was all she could say. She didn't have the words to speak, it seemed, so I said it. The one who committed adultery was you. I'll be the one to receive the alimony. I'll make sure of that. Then she finally said something.
Wait, you're wrong. Let me explain. She was bawling and pleading desperately, but I ignored her and hung up the phone.
I felt so refreshed. After that, I haven't seen either Abby or Steve since. My lawyer handled all the proceedings for me. I can't say how much, but I was able to receive alimony from both of them. And through the lawyer, they got Abby to sign and send the divorce papers. I submitted them immediately and returned to life as a single man. I visited my parents-in-law myself and told them directly. They were shocked, but they apologized to me. That isn't our daughter, he told me, not to hold back in prosecuting her. She couldn't stay in our house, and she couldn't return to her parents' house, so she was forced to marry Steve. But Steve still planned to play around. He blamed Abby for having to pay alimony. They continued fighting over it until they eventually broke up. Furthermore, their relationship became the talk of her workplace. It became difficult for Abby to continue to work there. I heard she ended up quitting. At the moment, in order to pay for the alimony, I heard she works all different kinds of part-time jobs without any days off. She seemed to be having a difficult time keeping up with her bills. I also heard she has lost a lot of weight and looks 10 years older. I think she did it to herself. I'm very happy and I don't feel sorry for her at all. Now I'm in Singapore, loved by my subordinates and a successful manager. My job is going amazing. I don't think I can get married again though. I learned marriage isn't everything. I'm very happy with my current life. I think I want to continue to live happy and free from here on out.